Hey everybody, it's so great to be back. Life Strategies with Nat, and I have an amazing guest expert today. I would love to know where you're tuning in from. For those of you who are new, you are in for a treat because actually this would have been episode 81 of Life Strategies with Nat. So I'm excited to bring this back fresh. We're talking money mindset. We're talking mindset. This has been a huge topic that has come up in my Facebook community, as well as just in speaking with entrepreneurs just about anywhere. So I thought, well, actually, I have to say, Kimberly, she came and did an amazing presentation in BIG, which stands for Believe, Inspire, Grow. It's a women's empowerment organization. And I was so blown away at her content around money mindset. I mean, she is a money mindset expert and she's an NLP practitioner. So we are in such good hands. I'm going to actually, well, I guess for those of you that don't know me, my name's Natalia Edelman. And I am a life strategist and a business strategist, and we are here. I haven't quite decided yet. If we're here every week, I'll let you know. But anyway, we're here to talk money mindset because this is what we're dealing with. And at the end, you are going to walk away with your money mindset transformed. That's what the end goal is. So if you have questions, pop them in the comments. If you see me kind of looking over to Facebook, to my phone, I'm just checking to see we're at Zoom live. But anyway, I'm really excited to have you guys here. Kimberly, welcome. I'm super pumped. And I think without further ado, I'd love to just welcome you. Tell us a bit more about you, and then we'll kind of get into it.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. So absolutely, I'm Kimberly. I'm a money mindset expert. I work with women entrepreneurs who want to break through to their next level of income, who are overcome by the things that are going on in their head. Basically, we've all got those stories, those money stories going on in our heads that are stopping us from taking our businesses to that next level. And as you say, it's so topical right now because not only did we have all these beautiful plans for 2020, a lot of people, but also there's a lot of challenges going on at the same time. So I am in the UK, as you can probably tell by the accent. I set up my first business 4 years ago, and I had a terrible money mindset. Absolutely appalling money mindset. I was charging so little, like £10 an hour for my services. I was burnt out. I was frustrated. I couldn't see a way through. And I was trying all the strategies. I was doing all the things. On the surface, I should have been doing everything right. But it was my mindset that was just completely holding me back. And so when I discovered coaching, that was when things started to change for me. And as soon as I started to learn this stuff, I was like, oh, I have to share this. I have to share this far and wide. And here I am all this time later, helping women do exactly that. So that's really me and where I've come from. And when I am not helping women do that, I will be found in the countryside with my husband, walking our 2 incredible dogs and having fun. I have a million and one hobbies. I love cooking and drawing and dancing.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. That's amazing. Thanks so much for that, because I know that there's so many people that either if you're listening on replay, I'm seeing Halima, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, Halima from London. Hello. Andrea from Portugal. Hello. So I know exactly what you're talking about when you say when you started your business, it was like you were just charging so little and you were just like in and out of that burnout mode, right? And you're almost at that point where you get taken over by your emotions. And I can absolutely relate to you when you say, once I learned the techniques about how important mindset is, just like it's 90% mindset. And I think that's a great place to start, like for anyone who's new to the entrepreneurial world, or who is just trying to, like you say, get to that next level, because I always like to say new levels, new devils. Like every time you reach that new income, it's like, okay, self-doubt, all this other stuff comes in. So like if I were to ask you, why is mindset important? What would you say about that?
Absolutely. So what I would say is that strategy is great, and we all do need strategy, but so often, especially in the beginning, we are actually all the way through, we are so obsessed with, okay, I need to learn how to do these things, and there's always something new to learn. I mean, the algorithms are always changing on Instagram and Facebook and God knows what else. There's always something new to learn in terms of the strategy. But if you don't have the right mindset, you can have the best strategies in the world and you will not implement them. You won't be able to implement them to the full extent. You won't be able to show up in your most authentic way. You won't be able to show up as you if your mindset is wrong. You'll be constantly looking to other people for the answers rather than coming inside, which means that you won't make the money that you want to make, but also you'll have a miserable time doing it. And those two kind of key pieces are why I do what I do. Yes, I want all of my clients to make a lot more money, but I also want them to have fun whilst doing it. I don't want it to be this like heavy, hard thing. So that's why mindset is so important, because otherwise you're just doing things. You're like a little machine and there's no soul to it. And so there's no connection, and you're spending all of this time and you're not getting the results that you want, and you're having a miserable time whilst doing it. So that for me is why mindset is so, so important.
What a terrible combination, right? Like heaviness. I loved how you described the opposite of that. Like it's fun, it's soulful, you enjoy it. I think a lot of people, especially a lot of entrepreneurs, they come to this point where it's like, somewhere I lost the joy. Like, where did that go? And it's like, okay, well, let me take a step back and reconnect and figure out what is that. You know, let's look at the mindset, like what's going on. Do you have enough self-care? And then all these other things come to play. But I want to stay focused on money mindset, because we could go in all sorts of kinds of different directions. So, how we're in this pandemic, UK just went back in lockdown. There was talk of lockdown, going back in lockdown here in Spain, which is where I am, which you wouldn't tell from my accent whatsoever growing up in Canada. But how do you maintain a good money mindset amidst this global pandemic?
Absolutely. For me, the most key thing is staying resilient. So switching off as much as you can from all of the news, from all of the negativity. And this isn't about denying the experience that other people are having. Like me and Natalia were saying just before we hopped on here, I was saying how I feel so strongly for the people who they've just started to get back on some sort of even keel. They've maybe adapted their businesses, and now we're here in the UK, we're going into a lockdown, and suddenly all those great ideas that they had to keep making money, they can't do because maybe they have to shut their shops or whatever. But even for those people, it's about coming back to a sense of resiliency. Like, okay, I can't control the pandemic. I can't control what the government are going to do, but I can control my emotions. I can control my thoughts. And I can control my behavior by taking control of those two things. And so that's where it's so important to stay in your head, keep your mind on, okay, what can I do? How can I make the most of it? So that would be the first thing. And then the second thing that I would also say is being very open to looking at, okay, what do I need? So what is it that I need? If you need to take yourself, I kind of look at it as, once you come out of survival mode, then you can start to move into thriving. But if you're in a place where you don't think your business is going to survive, you can't think about the strategies to thrive. So you want to get yourself, first off, right, what do I need to survive? And just come as much as you can. You're taking the emotion out of it. And that's where the mind piece is really important, is keeping your mind focused on what you objectively can do, right? How can I survive? And then you can start to really have fun and play and experiment. And that's the mindset that you really want when it comes to money, is, okay, what things can I do to generate money in a way that is exciting for me and that is beneficial to my audience? So that is what I would say, is very much stay focused on those things. And with that, on the have fun and play with what is good for you and what is good for your audience, keeping in mind your bigger picture vision. Obviously, whilst we're going through this pandemic, it's really hard. If you've got a 5-year vision or a 10-year vision, it's hard to stay focused on that. But coming back to that why, like, why are you doing this? Like you, Natalia, you're doing this because you want to empower women. Well, that's the impression that I've got from all my experiences I've had with you. And so when you're staying really focused on, I want to empower women, if that's your thing or whatever your thing is, then that keeps you focused so that you're not getting distracted. Because this is the big thing, is we get distracted by all of the fear and all of the doubt and all of the shame and all of the guilt and all of the worries that are coming up. And they're absolutely valid, and that's okay to feel those ways. But if you want to still make money, or you want to thrive during this pandemic, then you have to come back to your body and learn how to deal with those emotions.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You had so many key things there. And I think the one that I want to highlight is like, be in control of what you can control and let go of what you can't control. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff that you said in there, but if you're going to take away anything, guys, like, you know, that is huge. And I just wanted to say hello to Mike, to Stephen, to Deborah. Halima says, I love the idea of maintenance. It's not one thing. It's not one thing we have to do. Halima, maybe you can explain a little bit there, because I want to, because what I think I love the idea of maintenance. It's not one thing we have to do. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think, okay, so Halima's one of my clients, so one of my first clients. So I think, and I don't want to answer for her, so I'd love her to put this in the comments, but I think kind of what she's saying, exactly as I said, it's not just that you get to just do one thing. You don't just like, okay, cool, I've got this idea that I'm just going to focus on the things that I can control. It's kind of this build up, but take your time with it. Don't try and do everything all at once, because you won't implement anything. So if that's your one key takeaway from this, that's perfect. But it is this build up of going from that survival level, okay, what is the essential? And then building your blocks, basically. Building your blocks with your mindset, strengthening it continuous. It's not something that you're going to do once and then you're never going to have to work on your mindset again, because every time that you're going through a new level in your business, or you have new challenges that come up, you're going to have some new stuff to deal with. You're going to have some new things that come up in your mind. So that maintenance, that continuous, you need to keep it, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, and you know, it's so true. Like, it is such a journey, and like, this is just something that we always work on. Hey, Rich, how are you? Yeah, Halima says, yes, exactly. So that's awesome. And I think maybe one of the last things we wanted to kind of touch on was, you know, because abundance gets used a lot these days, you know, abundance, self-care, self-love. I mean, these are all huge topics, but if we can kind of bring it to money mindset and, you know, what are those key principles of an abundant mindset?
Absolutely. So I would say the first is allowing yourself to receive. And this is like a really big one. If I just said it to, when you just hear it, and it has been thrown around a lot, so I'm sure you've already heard it. It's not the first time most people will be hearing someone saying that. But we underestimate we're so focused on these big goals. So many people that come to me, they're obsessed because we have this wonderful thing in the coaching industry, 10K months, 10K months. And it's so well marketed, and they think that's their goal. And so they get a bit obsessed with this 10K months when they're not doing the work to be able to receive at that level. It's not just about, oh, I want to make, I want to make that money. There needs to be a strong purpose behind why you want that money, which is why 10K months is not usually what most people actually want. They usually want security, and they usually want safety. They usually want an amount that is enough. That's just like a nice arbitrary number that the coaching industry likes to put. But that receiving, you need to be able to receive at all levels. So this is where the abundance thing comes in. Can you receive compliments? Can you receive offers, for example? So one of the things that I noticed actually coming up, that used to come up for me, is I would get offers for people would invite me to speak because I'm quite good at speaking, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't really do that, like, yeah, I'm busy that time, or oh, I'm not expert enough, so you should have someone who's more of an expert. You should have this person instead because she's better than me. And so if you're not able to fully receive the compliments, the opportunities, the invites to perhaps go into, it might be that you need to go into a mastermind or be in a group. Like, one of the best investments that I have made in myself is in higher level masterminds, because of the mindset of the women that you're surrounded with, is the mindset of the people that you're surrounded with when you allow yourself to receive that advice and that coaching and that level. And so it's really about allowing yourself to receive on all levels, and then that's when money will come to you, because you've allowed yourself to receive everything. This is why I really like the idea of abundance, not just money, because it is they're very intrinsically linked. And so if you can't receive on any levels, then you are going to struggle with your money. So they're very linked. So that's the first place. That's the first principle that I would say is really important. Where are you not allowing yourself to fully receive? It's really key. And then in terms of money, what's your money story? We all have a money story that's followed us around since childhood. We will have learned things from our parents. We will have learned things from jobs that we've had, or businesses that we've run, or clients that we've worked with. There's a really rich story that you have when it comes to money. And so it's really important to understand what that money story is. And if there are parts of your money story that no longer serve you, that are stopping you from making more money, they need changing. So it's really important to take a look at those and identify where are your limitations, where are your blocks, where are things holding you back. And then, sorry, I've had a little tickle since yesterday. I was using sage yesterday to get rid of some of the negative energy, and since then I've had a little tickle in my throat. Why? It's quite got to me. So those are the first two. And then finally, what I would say is, what would I say? That's a really good question. My mind just went completely and utterly blank.
So we talked about
yes,
the ability to receive.
The ability to receive.
And I think this shows up a lot, especially around compliments, which I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that's it. That was a huge thing for me. I don't always get like, oh, thanks, and then we talked about your story.
Yeah, I know where I wanted to go next.
Stories, because there are many. I know
Yes.
Anyway, so the third thing is
about your goals.
Yeah.
So really, when we are setting goals, sometimes we can allow ourselves to dream really big. And other times we're like, yeah, that's a bit too ambitious. That's a bit too much. Like, that's not very realistic. And I think it's really important to have these really big vision goals, like these really great goals that you are going to achieve in a longer term period, maybe 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, this really beautiful vision of where you want your business to go. And it's very high level when you're looking at that big picture. It's a big picture number of turnover. It's a big picture number of people you're serving. It's a big picture view of really the type of business that you're going to have. But then making sure that the goals that you have in the shorter term are somewhat realistic, so that you're not setting yourself up for complete disappointment every time. And I used to do this. So I was in a membership. This was in, I think, the second year of my business. And I was in this membership, and every month we'd have to set a goal for the month. And I'd set this goal, this absolute arbitrary number of 3K. That would be my arbitrary number. Every single month I wouldn't hit it, because I had no connection to this number. It was kind of like that arbitrary 10K months that we now have. And I'd be so disappointed with myself, and I'd beat myself up, and I'd be so frustrated. I'd be like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I make this happen? And it's because, if I'm really honest, I wasn't connected with it. I didn't believe it was possible for me in any way, shape, or form. And so if you set a goal that you just think it's just so ridiculous, you will feel bad about it. Because if you set a goal that's maybe like 10, 20% higher than the goal that you feel comfortable with, then you've got something to stretch to, something that's just outside your reach, but it's not so far away that it feels ridiculous. And then you can really start to, again, play. This is the most important thing, is play with it. How can I make this possible? What's going to happen? What would it look like for me to achieve this? How could this happen? How could I make this happen? But don't attach to exactly how it's going to happen, because this beautiful universe that we live in works in weird and wonderful and magical ways, and it will surprise you if you allow it. So releasing that control, and it is a challenge, and it is one to work on. I'm sure you can agree, Natalia. It takes a bit of work to begin with, but once you do, it's really powerful how that money flows to you without you even realizing, or without you even having to force something.
Yeah, like one of my favorite ones is like, forget the how and just allow. That's one of those, just like quick, one of the falls off the tip of your tongue, like, oh yeah, remember that.
I love that.
And it rhymes too, so it's fun.
Yeah, fun and easy to remember. I love it.
Yeah, you feel free to use it. I can't take credit for that one.
Perfect.
But yeah, and Sakshi's here. Awesome. Hey, my darling. So I love those 3 principles, like look in all aspects of your life where you're not able to receive. And then, the stories, huge. And then the goals, and I'm huge into visions, do vision boards and goals. So when you were talking about all that stuff, I was just like, yes.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other key things that you talked about was implementation. That kind of came up throughout our discussion. And I think for anyone who's listening, it's like, maybe pick 1 or 2, 3 things, like start with one thing and just start to apply it, start to actually implement it. And when you feel good about it, or if you want to reach out to either of us to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Awesome. Like Kimberly's in my group. So you can definitely ask her there. You can reach out to her personally, and I'm going to ask her in a minute to let us know how we get in touch with this wonderful woman. But implementation is something that, like you were saying, it's like we can say we want to do all these things. We can say we have all these goals, but then, you know, it's like saying you want to lose weight and like sitting on the couch and just having bonbons all day, or like, you know, say you want to be onward and upward, but like the people that you surround yourself with are not lifting you up. That's another thing I picked up from you. It's like, look at who you're surrounding yourself with, and be surrounded by people who have achieved what you want to achieve or are working towards what you want to achieve. Because, you know, there are those that can keep us stuck. And when we rise, like there are certainly people that sometimes we have to leave behind, or they leave us, and that's okay, you know. But I think what I loved about this was, you know, how important mindset is, how much more in control you are than you think about your mindset.
Absolutely.
Halima says, Kimberly has totally changed my life. That is huge. Halima, I'm so happy that you said that, because the minute I heard from Kimberly, I was like, wow, this woman has something, honestly. And it's just been such a pleasure having you here and talking. And I'm sure this won't be the first time, because I'd love to have you back and you know, explore other topics. And we've already talked about collaborating, so it's like, again, the universe works in mysterious ways. But was there anything you wanted to kind of leave us with? I certainly want you to tell us how we can get a hold of you, or if there's anything that you want to share with us. I'd love to invite you to do that now.
Thank you. No, absolutely. I completely agree with you that implementation is key. I do not want you to have listened to this wonderful talk that we've just had and going, oh, that was nice. Lovely to hear from these wonderful two ladies. Lovely. And not do anything with it. Take one thing and implement it. And then take something else and implement it. One step at a time. But do something with this information, because it is so valuable. And to those people who implement, they are the ones who will attract the money, will attract the abundance, will attract the opportunities. You have to take action. It doesn't happen. I wish it did. Wouldn't that be fun? Sitting on the couch going, like that would be lovely, but it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't mean it has to be forced. It doesn't mean it has to be uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable, but like really heavy. It doesn't have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be hard, but you do have to do the work. And that's the long and short of it. When it comes to money, when it comes to money mindset, when it comes to making money, when it comes to business, you have to take action. You can't just sit there and do nothing. So I would say that's absolutely key. And if you want to find out more, then head on over to my website, which is kimberleytaylor.net. I have an awesome freebie there, which talks about some of the key limiting beliefs that you have around money, from my work with women at all different levels of their business, and what you can do about it. So again, some more strategies where you can start taking action, one thing at a time, start taking action. Or if you want to come and join my Facebook group, it's Unleash Your Abundant CEO. And over there, we are talking all about money stories, money mindset, all things to do with money and business. So yeah, I'd love to see you over there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in live with us, everyone who's watching the replay, and we'll see you next time. I'll be sending out some updates as to when we'll be back. Mwah. Lots of love. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.